If you've ever spent any amount of time buying vehicles at dealer auctions, you've probably heard of ADESA and Manheim. I've bought cars from both. I've lost money at both. So this isn't about saying one place is good and one place is bad. And if you're a dealer or someone who's buying vehicles at auction, I'm about to give you the juice and it could save you thousands. This is going to be about me explaining why my buying strategy gradually shifted towards ADESA. So the biggest difference, for me, isn't the price, so to speak. It's information. The information I have before I buy a car, the less risk that I'm taking, and the less risk that I'm taking for my dealers. Okay, like that's everything. So I'm going to go into a bunch of subjects, but one thing here I'm going to start with is ADESA Clear. Okay, now when this app came out last year, maybe the year before, it definitely was not. It was not something that I particularly liked. Okay, I know that with like technology, there's growing pains and stuff like that, but they were really able to get things ramped up pretty quickly, in my opinion, and it was something that I actually leaned on really late, like in my auction, buying career. Okay, the ADESA Clear is Carvana's wholesale website where you can get great deals on cars without as much risk. So being able to see additional details like engine operation, they'll show you a 20 to 30 second video of the engine running, and they'll also scan the vehicle for codes. This information gives me another piece of the puzzle. Most of the time when they describe a car, they describe it accurately. It's not like other sites where it almost seems like it's a game trying to track down the information or the necessary information so that you can make a decision on a car. So, no single piece of information guarantees a good car, but more information leads to a better decision. So, this is probably the biggest reason my strategy changed. You can test drive vehicles at Manheim, Milwaukee, but Manheim, Chicago, you cannot. At the ADESA locations I've worked with, I've been able to test drive vehicles. For me, that's huge. You can listen to the transmission. You can feel how it shifts. You can check for vibrations. You can look underneath the car. You can take your high lumen flashlight and you can really get down and dirty and look at that vehicle. I'm not always just focused on the front of the vehicle. I also want to go ahead and look at structural, okay? If it's a truck, I need to be able to get everywhere I need to go, and being able to put my hands on a car like that makes a big difference. At that point, you don't actually you don't drive a car. You don't just hop in it and drive it, okay? I get underneath and look at everything that I need to look at, from any, sort of leaks, any signs of parts that are going to be kind of on their way out. I was not one of those buyers that would see a CV axle leaking or a CV boot kind of cracked just a little bit, and then we would pedal it onto the customer. A CV axle is actually really, really easy to replace on most vehicles. So bottom line is, a 5-minute drive can save you thousands. Okay. Now, from my Manheim experience at Manheim, Chicago, because vehicles generally aren't available for test drives in the same way, I always felt like I was taking more risk, and it's because I was taking more risk. Even when a vehicle looked great, even when everything checked out, sometimes you simply don't know until it's too late. I've had vehicles work out wonderfully. I have also had vehicles ultimately work out okay, but I got lucky. One instance was a 2014 Ford Edge Limited that we bought, and on the way to the test track, or the way to the sold lot, the transmission was slipping, and we got it back. We waited for about a week to try to decide what we were going to do, and one way or another, we decided that we were just going to do a drain and fill on the transmission, and it performed flawlessly after that. But that's part of the business. But personally, I prefer reducing uncertainty whenever possible. Being a good buyer means managing the pressure that comes with the job. This is a job where you cannot mess up. So obviously, all auctions have, their own, like, specific sellers and stuff like that. But for Odessa, I liked the inventory at Odessa a little bit better, just because seeing consigners like Tesla and Rivian creates opportunities that, like, I'm interested in. Typically, those cars are in much better shape than some other dealers. So for buyers who understand those vehicles, I mean, that inventory can be extremely valuable. Okay. Now, obviously, I'll go off on a little tangent here, and I'll talk about how vehicles in the Tesla lane always go for more money. That is not the case. You really just need to do your due diligence on all the cars that you're interested in and check all of them out. Because if you outwork your opponents and you know about 30 cars in the Tesla lane out of 200, and they only know about 15, you're going to increase your chances of getting a car that not everybody knew about and you didn't have as much competition on, so you got it for less. So one thing that really separates, an auction from like any other, and any other auction is going to tell you that their staff is, the best, okay? But this is just from my experience, okay? One thing I want to make clear, I mean, buildings don't make experiences, but the people do, okay? I want to thank Ted at Odessa, Chicago for everything he's done for me over the years. Gil, he was at Chicago. He was an assistant GM. He got promoted to be a GM at another location out east. He has had my back on several things as well. Thank you, Gil. Neri, who is the sales general manager, I believe, at Odessa, Chicago. The guy is A1. There were times where Odessa Clear was having issues and I couldn't get my proxy bids. I came in with like 30 minutes before the proxy bid cutoff point, and he allowed me to use his computer to get my proxy bids in. It's stuff like that where you go above and beyond that makes a big, big difference. Obviously that was like kind of the front office staff, okay? But I also want to thank John, who is out on the lot at Odessa, Chicago. That guy is a ride or die guy, okay? He has helped me out a ton. He's probably jumped over 500 to 600 vehicles for me. I'm not even joking. When you're there every week and there's about 5 to 10 each time, it really, really adds up. Lastly, even the ladies at the gate at Odessa, they were great help when I had a vehicle, inspection list that was like north of like 50 vehicles. Those relationships matter. Those relationships, make a difference. But I also want to give credit where it is due, okay? I also want to recognize Dave, the general manager at Mannheim, Milwaukee. Early in my career, he treated me extremely well and went out of his way to help me a handful of times, and I've never forgotten that, and I never will. So thank you, Dave. This video isn't meant to like criticize good people. It's just simply explaining why and how my buying strategy evolved. So as far as like the future, one reason I'm excited about Odessa, Chicago is its continued growth as a Carvana mega site. If the volume increases the way many expect, buyers could have access to even more inventory and more opportunities. That's something I'll be watching closely. One thing that is nice about Odessa, Chicago is it's going to allow you to drive Odessa Clear cars, which are like wholesale cars that are usually at their University Park location. If they are at the Odessa, Chicago location, if you are in good standing, I don't see any reason why you should not be able to drive those cars. In closing, at the end of the day, every buyer has a different strategy. Mine is very simple. The more information I have, before I spend money, the better decisions I make. If I can test drive it, inspect it, scan it, and understand its history, my odds improve. That's why I gradually shifted more of my attention to Odessa. Not because it's perfect, not because of my experience, but because in my experience, it fits the way that I buy cars. So thanks for tuning in for another episode of Auction Maverick. I hope this helps influence some of your decisions if you're a new buyer. All right, thanks guys.